is about the scene. Get the tools out. Hi.
You alright?
How you doing? Shy, obviously.
Correct, not political meme. Yeah.
It's a play on words.
How's it play on words?
Well, it's not really a play
Are
on
you
words.
filming right now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We're always rolling. Oh, what you got to say?
Nothing.
What are you doing here today?
Just having a protest
Having a protest? What about?
about refugees.
Refugees?
Yeah.
What about them?
Say that they should be welcome here.
They should be welcome here?
Yeah. But I don't really want to talk to you, mate.
You don't really want to talk to me? Why did you touch me?
Huh?
Why did you touch me?
I didn't touch you.
You just literally just touched me. We're probably good at it on film. So why don't you want to talk to me really?
Just, I don't know who you are. I'm just
you don't talk to
working with my
strangers?
friends. Yeah, exactly.
Probably not a bad thing. I think they're trying to take the piss out of how many people's in the chat.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Give it a minute, you cunt.
Further up.
Further up. Huh?
There's only like 40 people, apparently.
There's about 40 people here, mate. Take note. Who's handing these out?
We are, and you can have one.
Thank you very much, sir. Could you make comment on this badge?
Pardon?
Would you make comment on it?
Yes. Well, Stand Up to Racism is a national campaign.
Right.
And we are campaigning today for the obvious reasons of what's going on in this country to the refugees. It didn't start today. Our campaign is ongoing. We recognise that there is a hostile environment for refugees and asylum seekers in this country, and all of the measures that the government is taking at the moment we are opposing because they're making life impossible for people who want to gain entry, safe entry, to claim asylum in this country, and for people who live here. A lot of the current government's policies mitigate against their quality of life and make life very difficult both for themselves and for others. And the last thing is that there is an issue of scapegoating, which we think is very divisive in the country, when a lot of people consider the country's in a mess, and a lot of the media, and it has to be said this current government, is blaming migrants and asylum seekers for a lot of the problems in the country that clearly those migrants are not responsible for, and we think that it's invidious of the government to try and scapegoat people in those circumstances. So that's really what that's the stance that we take on against racism.
I'm struggling to see the correlation between what you said and racism. Because what's racist about making a policy to prevent people gaining entry to the country illegally? What's racist about it?
What's racist about people who a lot of the migrants who come to this country are people of colour, and in fact it has to be said that you don't actually have to have a black skin to face racism in this country. And you know, this has been ongoing for centuries. So there's nothing unusual about migrants from Ireland, for example, in the 19th century being treated in a racist way when they arrive in this country. And migration.
What do you mean when you say that? Though? When you say that, you keep saying the word, but you haven't really defined it for me. So I'm struggling to understand what you mean by racism and racist. What do you mean by these words? What does it mean to you?
What it means is that people are treated by the government or others in the country in a way that discriminates against them on the basis of their colour.
On the basis of their colour?
Usually on their colour. I mean, I just spoke to you about Irish people.
Right.
And other people.
And you did state that people of other colours, you don't have to be black to face racism. You said you can be a different colour. That's what you said.
There are lots of people who wouldn't consider themselves to be black,
right,
but still face racism.
Do you think? One last question. Do you think you could have racism upon yourself if you was a white straight male? You can't.
No. We're in a country where the power base, right, of
So
the
white straight,
country.
just to clarify, because you weren't looking. So you can't have racism if you're a white straight male. You can't get racism against you.
Racism is an issue of the people in power using methods to divide people from each other, okay? And they can divide it on ethnicity, right, or other discriminatory ways.
Are race and ethnicity the same thing?
Pardon?
Are race and
No, I
ethnicity? They're
don't.
not.
Actually, race is not a suitable term to.
It's not a
to-
suitable
to
term?
use. Not really.
So, but you've got
Racism
stickers.
is different. No, racism is not the same as race.
I think if you're disputing what he's saying right now, you have an absolute lack of empathy. People come here like running away from. No, I don't think I really want to talk on a right wing.
What do you mean right wing?
I mean that's.
I'm as centre as they
okay.
come, mate. I'm straight down the middle.
Yeah, I don't know about centre either, but
You don't know about centre?
Yeah,
So you
I
want
don't
people to be on the extreme left or nothing?
no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just
Georgie,
saying the
can you
centre's
film,
not.
please, mate?
Nah, I'm alright.
Georgie.
No,
what-
don't
These
film me.
people are
Don't
they're
film me.
here as Jean-Paul.
Hey, there we go.
No, I'm asking questions.
Come and ask me something. Come on.
I'll ask you here, mate. It's no problem. What are you doing here today, then?
Me?
Georgie, what's this? Go away, you. Go away. We're doing. We're working. What are you doing?
She said she didn't want to.
We're
Yeah,
working.
Why are you
Is he
asking her
filming
what
her?
she's doing?
Because she's affecting my cameraman.
She's not
Why don't you
affecting
go
the
away
camera,
then?
She's putting a barrier in front of it.
So if she's not, you look literally talking double negatives. Why not? Yeah, I film him saying don't talk to me. Why not? Go on.
Coming here today other than to like spread hate.
What do you mean spread hate?
I just don't know.
I want to
people come
ask
out here
questions.
to
I
make
want to
sure-
ask questions. Why can't we have a civil? Why can't we have a civil discourse? Why does no one want to talk to me?
I don't want to talk to you.
Why not? Are we not grown ups and adult?
You're not now.
What do you mean I'm not? Well, I've come here with my one mate, come to have a talk, and how do you lot act? Because you can't have a debate. You can't have simple debate.
Not a time for debate.
What do you mean this is not a time for debate? So what are you coming here to do if you ain't here to debate with people?
We're here to protest.
You're here to protest. You're not here to spread the word. I'm here to talk the word. I'm here to air the word.
Why didn't you come over here and talk to me? You can interview
He
me.
just offered me that, and then he's trying to stand in front of everything.
All right. Why don't we go somewhere else and we can...
What?
Do you mind? I'm happy
Do you mean
to
to
talk.
unwind?
Would you
Not
say
really. I do
mind?
this for a
Is not-
living.
I can stand
I don't
there.
really mind at
I don't
all.
care what you do for a living.
Right, sweet.
I'm offering myself for a private, quiet
Don't touch me,
interview.
please, if you don't mind.
So let's go
Thank
down
you.
there.
Let's go. All right, Georgie, we're rolling still. I appreciate that, Georgie. I appreciate that. You're a proper soldier. Yeah. Where would you like to go, sir? You want to get a bit further down? Oh, we don't want to interrupt anything, right? Right, my name's Jim. How'd you do?
Hello, I'm Paul.
Nice to meet you, Paul. Thank you for taking the time to speak to us this morning.
Pleasure.
This afternoon, rather. Well, this evening,
This lovely,
if we're going to be pedantic.
in this lovely day.
It is a beautiful day.
Exactly.
So what are you doing here today then, Paul?
I'm protesting against the inhumane treatment of refugees coming into this country.
And what inhumane treatment might that be, Paul?
Well, the inhumane treatment is one, there are very few real asylum avenues for would-be asylum seekers existing. And secondly, you have to consider this. I know refugees that are without papers in this country who have travelled tens of thousands of miles
Through France,
through France.
which is a safe country.
Hold on.
So
Some
we
of-
will make them
Let-
economic
let's-
migrants,
Sorry,
no?
what's your name?
Jim,
Jim.
the second time.
Don't forget that some of them have drowned in the Mediterranean
Right.
because they are escaping the
France.
damage that Libya...
escaping France?
No, in the Mediterranean.
I beg your
south
pardon,
of
I
France.
beg your pardon.
Okay, they're escaping the
To France.
damage that Britain did in Iraq.
So it's
in-
down to
in
colonialism.
Africa. So I'm saying it is the damage, the
I'm just getting there
bombing,
quicker.
and the intimidation,
Right,
and the oppression
right.
in Afghanistan,
Right.
in Iraq, in Libya. And as a result of the British action, among others,
Right.
these are people who are trying to escape. If you or I were in Benghazi or Baghdad with our family,
Right.
that's exactly what we would do.
Paul, just may I interject
And-
one
and-
second?
Sorry, no, I haven't finished.
Okay, please do.
And the real thing is that we are now saying you arrive in Britain and then they're shipped off to Rwanda,
Right.
which both the United Nations and Amnesty International have condemned for their human rights record.
Right.
That you or I would hate that to happen to us,
Right.
and therefore that's why I'm here.
Right.
Think of your family. You've probably got kids, wife,
Yes.
whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Think of this.
Right.
You're in a house, and either the Taliban come to threaten you,
Right.
or you get bombed by American drones.
Right.
You, as a responsible father, say, I cannot allow my kids or my wife or my immediate family to be put in danger. I'm going to have to, as a responsible parent, take them out.
As a responsible parent, how many safe countries will you travel through till you get to the UK, though? That's the question.
No, the question is, if you...
It is, Paul.
Excuse me, are you interviewing me or are you...
I am, but you're not listening.
No, I'm sorry, I am listening.
You're not.
The real question is this.
Oh.
They have families in Britain, they speak English.
they?
Oh, yes.
All of
Many.
them?
Not all, but many.
Right.
Why do they choose the UK and not France? I'll tell you for two reasons. Racism in France is appalling. Islamophobia, you talk about the physical... Don't interrupt me. You're interviewing me.
I feel like I'm in school.
The truth is,
We're having a finger.
is that
Please.
Muslims
Right.
in France
Cut
are
people's heads
attacked-
off. Charlie Hebdo.
No. Oh, well, of course, terrible thing.
Terrible.
Absolutely awful.
Absolutely.
But are you aware of what French troops are doing in Mali, where they're murdering Muslims in Mali, where French troops are in Guinea?
And do you
Are
spare the
aware
same?
of
Do you
that?
spare the same thought for the Christians being murdered in Iraq and things like
Of
this?
course, I'm utterly against that. Of course I
So
am.
where's the protest about that, though?
Well, I'm so sorry. I was the person who was protesting to remove Saddam Hussein.
Why for?
As Britain
He,
was armed.
he used to hang terrorists. Why would you want to dethrone him?
Why then did Britain arm him? Why did Britain support him? You answer me that one. Why?
Like
Tell
the
me why.
government's. Hang
Tell
on.
me why.
You'd like me to answer your question as if the government is supposed to be something that's looked at with some sort of integrity, like they
No.
have some sort of integrity. I
No,
mean,
you asked
that's a
me-
fallacious
you-
argument against me. I'm an anarchist.
You asked
I don't
me-
believe in government.
Well, anarchism has its problems.
Right.
The truth is...
So does communism.
I know, and I'm not a communist. I'm
Okay.
a socialist. I'm a follower of Karl Marx and of Lenin.
There's a massive difference. He's a
There
follower
is
of
a
Lenin,
huge-
but he's not a
Of course-
communist.
Of course I am.
This is not my first rodeo, Paul. I know the history,
why
mate.
Why don't you look at history?
Okay, let's talk about history.
Okay, of course.
Right.
Whatever you want.
Yes?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm happy to go ahead. I mean, it's very
So let's talk
interesting.
about all the Christians murdered as a result of the communist revolution and the Bolsheviks and what they was doing.
No, come on. Be
No, you don't.
sensible.
You don't want to talk about that.
No, you didn't.
Anything in history, you
Oh,
said.
sorry. What's your source? What's your source?
What's my source?
Yeah,
Wikipedia,
where do you-
probably.
Yeah.
No, you don't like Wikipedia.
Please, come on.
All right. What about man-made climate change?
Climate change is man-made. Absolutely.
Always.
It has been since the Anthropocene.
Since the what? Sorry.
The Anthropocene. You need to.
We're in
gel
the
up on these-
we're in the Holocene now. No.
No, we're in the Anthropocene that started in 1750 and the Industrial Revolution. Let me tell you an interesting story about
Please.
that. Yeah, it is. You see, the early factory owners and the landowners had a choice. In the early 1800s, did they use water as power or did they mine coal?
I've got one question for you,
Hold
Paul.
on, I haven't finished.
Go on.
And did they mine coal?
Probably.
And they decided to
Right.
mine coal.
Right.
And we are paying the price for climate change ever since.
On that, right? In the last 120
Yeah.
years.
Who are you?
Correct, not political. My name's Jim. Like I said, for the third time.
Tell me,
Please, one question, Paul.
Where do you come from?
YouTube.
What's your organisation?
I am the
Who
organisation.
finances you?
I am crowdfunded.
Okay.
Big up, boys, for the
How much money-
donos.
How much money do you get in the crowd? Is it good?
He wears a whistle, doesn't he? Must be all right. Right.
Right.
Anyway, one question, Paul, for you, and then I'll let you get on your
Okay.
way. Right. So, in the last 120 years,
Yeah.
the temperature has risen 0.5 degrees, half a degree Celsius.
Yes.
Right. 3/4 of that was before the post.
Are you a scientist? Do you know what you're talking about?
I can read, Paul. I can read.
Who do
What
you-
is this appeal to
who-
authority all
who-
about? What
who-
is this appeal to authority about?
Who do you read? Who do you read? Who are you quoting as a source? Nigel Lawson?
No, Noah.
Noah.
Yes.
Give me more. What? Noah? Who?
Oh my
Who's
goodness.
Noah?
the people that catalogue all the climate change and all that sort of thing.
No, I know.
Do they not?
Okay, all right, well, I have no idea.
They
Sorry,
do.
I haven't
That's
heard
the,
of it.
that's
I
the
haven't
people.
heard of
That's
it.
the people that the IPCC use and things like this, right?
No, they don't. No, the IPCC don't. And scientific opinion
Right.
is.
This is
100%.
observable anyway. What I'm saying to you is observable. In the last 120 years, you can do it by.
Are you seriously telling me climate change is not taking place?
You're not letting me finish, are you?
Well, ask me. Go
I'm
on.
asking you a simple question, right? I'm making a statement, I'm asking you a question. In the last 120 years, the temperature has risen 0.5 degree Celsius. You concede that notion, right?
No, I don't.
You don't concede that notion. So you argue that it hasn't risen, or it's risen more?
Rising more.
It's rising more.
1.5.
So
and
again,
the
if we
prediction
Google
is-
it, no, but we're saying in the last 120 years, it's gone up 0.5 degrees Celsius.
Sorry.
Right? The point is, I'm trying to get to, right?
Go on then.
3/4 of that 0.5 degrees
Yes.
was before the post-war economic boom, right? So before.
Right. So why is it 1.8 now? You answer me.
What
that
are you
question.
quoting?
Sorry.
What's
the
you quote?
IPCC report of last year, of 3 years ago.
What,
of
the AR5?
all- Sorry.
The AR5?
No idea what you're talking about.
You've no idea what I'm talking about.
No.
Yeah, that's what you're quoting from.
No, I'm
the
talking about the
AR6.
IPCC report.
Yes,
Yeah.
the 3,500 page report.
Yes, which I obviously haven't read. You know,
Obviously
I'm sure
not.
you have.
But you don't know
Have
what
you-
the
have
title
you-
is.
Sorry, have you read it?
I reckon I've read more of it than you have.
Oh, very well, very possibly. But I'm
But
still.
this is what I mean.
contesting-
I'm not doing this as
still-
a virtue signal. I do this for a living.
I know, man.
So
Look,
I have to read it.
And
I don't
I-
just get along the bandwagon and start waving a flag. This is what you're doing, Paul, because you haven't got an argument. All you can do is appeal to authority and tell me, where have you read that? Who is your... Do you know what I mean? You can't have a civil conversation without
Are you
trying...
happy we've got the demonstrators here today?
Sorry, say that
Are
again.
you happy there are demonstrators here
Yeah.
protesting? Good.
Of course I am.
Right, well, why didn't you be friendlier to them rather than argue with them?
I'm not
Be polite,
arguing.
and
You
listen
don't want
to the
to...
arguments.
But you... Which...
You were trying to disrupt a stall. just
No, I
then.
wasn't.
Yes, you were.
I was
You
trying
were.
to talk to
well,
him.
you should learn, if I may suggest, a better
Please.
journalistic technique.
Please, go on.
Which is to be respectful and so on.
Be respectful.
Yes, to be respectful to
So,
people that you want to seek
so
the
when
opinion of.
when I spoke to you there, when I introduced myself and I told you my name 3 times, was I not being courteous and respectful then?
You were being unpleasant to other people.
And did you see how that conversation started?
So-
Did you witness how that whole conversation started?
So let me get this straight. What do you think about the deportation of refugees to Rwanda?
What do I think about it?
Yes.
I think it won't happen.
Do you agree with it?
Probably ain't the best idea.
Do you? Oh no. Well, come on. Don't hedge. Give me a straight answer. Do you? if
I
you're-
think it would be a better idea. It would make more economical sense to get a cargo boat and put them on that.
Where are you going to send them?
Rwanda still.
Are you? Right. Now, I'm going to finish the discussion now, but I just want to ask you a final question. If you were a refugee
Right.
bringing your family,
Right.
from Benghazi,
How many safe countries would I travel to before I settled?
they are entitled to choose the country where they think
No, they're
they-
not. International
Why
law.
not?
International law says they have to settle in the first safe country. If they're an asylum seeker, by definition.
Surely you would be.
Does that not work?
You would like your children.
No, we're
to
not on
be
about an
with your
emotional
ex-
argument. We're saying what international law states.
Sorry, what's emotional about talking about children?
What's
Children-
emotional talking about my child and what I'd feel if it was my child? What's the emotional black there?
God knows what
Thank
you're
you for your time, Paul. I thoroughly appreciate it.